Hello everybody. Welcome to my garden. As you can see, we have added, well, we sounds like a lot of people. Steve has added a trellis for me. So he put in a few T-posts and a cattle panel, so that way we can plant our tomatoes, so our indeterminate tomatoes. So the indeterminate tomatoes are going to grow taller than what a normal tomato cage would normally have a height. And so we're using a cattle panel to try to get more height, even though that's maybe like 5 feet or something. I'm 5'3", 5'4", depends who you ask. And so we're about 5 feet in with that cattle panel, so I think we're definitely gonna have some spillage and growing over, but it's more support than anything else I have right now. So these are the regular tomato cages. This is as tall as they are, and I have some Roma tomatoes that I actually purchased from a local nursery here by me. And I bought 5 Romas, and I have them in these cages on this bed because my plan is to have these determinate Romas be for like all the things like that I need to preserve. So diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce. I'm gonna see if I have enough. I'm gonna try ketchup. Hopefully that works out, but if not, then we can always get organic ketchup easily. I also bought a few peppers. So I purchased some jalapeno peppers. These are called the Full Dew. So these are sweet jalapenos. They're not spicy. So I have 2 of these, and then I have a habanada, which is a habanero, but is a sweet variety. And these I also purchased. Then here I have one of my own starts, and this is a zucchini, and it's a Black Beauty. This one we started inside, and so did this one. And I'm gonna give it a try this year. So last year I did the zucchini without any support. This year I'm gonna give these support a try. So these were gifted to me by my mom. So hopefully, oh, bird poop. So hopefully these will contain them, and as they grow, what I'm gonna do is try to take off the bottom leaves to avoid that pest pressure that I experienced last year. Hopefully that works out. Now over here in this bed, I have some more of these supports, and in this bed I have 3 different hot peppers. So I have cayenne, then I have a serrano, and a poblano ancho. And I'm excited, especially for the cayenne, because I want to dry that and make my own cayenne powder. So that way, we don't consume that much cayenne powder, but it is good to have. And then I also want to give it to the chickens, so that way they can stay nice and healthy as well. Right here along the side of this bed, I have the shelling peas. So my plan, I'm not sure if the camera picks it up right here, but I have some cattle panel parts that Steve cut up when he was making the fencing for the goats. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a couple supports right here or inside. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. Probably inside the bed, so that way the cattle panel is a little bit closer, so that way these guys can trellis up the cattle panel. And then another development is these strawberry starts. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought some strawberry starts. I bought, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 starts. As you can see, we're already getting some strawberries. When I first bought them, they had some blooms and I took them off so that way they can start rooting and focusing their energy on that. And now they've been in there for a couple of weeks, and I'm letting them get their buds. Let's see what else. The other strawberries that I planted from their roots are going. This is the Quinault Everbearing variety, and I still have some of those. And then these are the asparagus. They're very thin, so I'm not gonna harvest any of it. Then over here we had some kind of June bearing, what's that called? June bearing strawberry roots. They're not doing anything, as you can see, nothing. So that might be a wash. Then here we have our potato bed. We don't have anything at the moment, no developments there, so maybe it was a fluke, or maybe I just need to be a bit more patient. We'll see. So the tomatoes that I'm going to plant are tomatoes that I started except for one. So this is the only tomato. Let me move you guys so I can see myself. This is the only tomato that I bought that I'm gonna put on this trellis for right now. And it's called Pineapple. It's, if you can see, it's a slicer, and it's supposed to be heirloom and indeterminate. So this is the only one I'm gonna put on this trellis that I purchased. The rest of them are going to be ones that I started from seeds. So this one, I call it Johnny because my brother-in-law, he ate some tomatoes and he saved me some seeds last year and I didn't get to plant them. So so that's that. I also have here a couple of cherry varieties. So one of them is called Rainbow Cherry. So I'm guessing that each of these are a different color cherry tomato, and then the other one is called Chocolate Cherry, and that one I've planted before, and the skin is a little bit darker, kind of between red and brown. The next is Acer 55. So this one I think is more like a bush type, but I don't remember. So I'm just gonna plant it on this cattle panel. And what I'm gonna be using a yardstick from Tractor Supply and try to go 18 inches. That seems very far, but I've had very bad bug pressure and blight whenever I plant at 1 foot. So I'm gonna give it 18 and try to remember that like these plants are gonna grow and they're gonna be bushy and crazy, and so they look like insignificant right now, but in due time they're gonna grow. So I just gotta get past that mentality that they look so tiny right now and eventually they're gonna grow, so that way I don't plant them closer together, because my yield will be less if I do plant them closer together. So moving on, no developments really with the onion beds. I mean, they are doing their thing. They can probably use some fertilizer. They are looking a little bit rough and a little bit yellow, so that's on me. I haven't gotten out here and fertilized them since the last time I posted a video, so that's been a couple weeks now. I also have a cattle panel over here, and so at the bottom of this I'm thinking cucumbers, and if I don't need all this space for cucumbers, I'm thinking I might add more pole beans or peas as well, or more tomatoes. I don't know. But I definitely don't need this whole thing of cucumbers, because last year I had like, I want to say like 6 plants of cucumbers, and I was giving cucumbers like it was nobody's business. I think people were rejecting them at one point, or just accepting them and throwing them out, because it was like everybody that I know, I just gave them a shopping bag full of cucumbers. The garlic is doing good. It's still upright. It's doing its thing. Here I planted some cilantro a couple of weeks ago, and it's popping up, so that's great. Hopefully I can get to harvest some before we get like super duper hot. That's the plan. Here we have our carrots. So I did not thin any of these guys, and what I'm going to do, and this is questionable if I'm gonna do it or not, it depends on my mood. I have a hard time thinning things, and I know it's not good for your overall yield. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna let some of these go, like most of these go, and then once in a while I'll thin them and use that other carrot. So I'll leave one in and try to use it. I don't know if that's gonna disturb the one that's right next door to it, but at this point I don't know. I'm tempted to like pick one up right now, but I'm not going to. No, delayed gratification, Joe. Delayed gratification. Over here we have beets, and the beets are developing. They're taking so long, and I think it's just I didn't plant them in the at the right time. I think it's just too hot for them, so they're taking their sweet time, and they're stressing by being planted during this time of year. Even though like when I first planted them, they, you know, it was still a little cooler, but I don't think it's their favorite, because we're getting hot. Some days are like 90 something. Technically we're still in the spring, but still some days are like 97 degrees, so we'll see. And then the radishes are in here. They're doing something. We'll see how that goes. In here I finally finished filling this bed up, and I literally put every flower seed that I own in here. I had a bunch of like randoms. I had a bunch of sunflower seeds that I've saved from sunflower heads that I harvested back when we lived in Puerto Rico. So I put that in. I put baby's breath that I bought like 5 years ago, calendula, marigolds, foxgloves, bachelor buttons, just about everything. I doubt all of them are going to do anything, but you know, all of those flower seeds were really old. Most of them were like 4 years old already, and so I just, you know, the seeds that you throw away or don't plant are never gonna grow. So I was, you know, just dumping them in the dirt and hope for the best, and hopefully something pops up. But that's what that is. Now here I have a pretty large space where there's nothing, and then I have kind of like a hill, which Steve is actually going to weed whack this hill. We got a forestry mulcher because it was filled with like really thick stuff, but now the weather's nice and it's been raining, so like it's just growing. So before it gets too overwhelming, Steve is gonna weed whack it. He's been meaning to, but he has other projects that take priority, like the goats. We're gonna get those in a few days, and their stuff is not quite finished, and we're also doing irrigation, and that's not quite finished. So we're kind of just taking bites of each project at a time. We should probably like do one project at a time, but here we are. Okay, so here in this space, what I'm doing is I started some melons. So I don't know if these or those. So back there, I have some cantaloupes, and I have some watermelons. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line them up over here because all this is open space, and the idea is that the vines are gonna grow down this little hill right here. So once he weed whacks, we're either gonna mulch, or we have some fabric that we can probably put down to help with the grass and the weed pressure. So that's most likely what we're gonna do, so that way we don't have to deal with any weeds popping through the mulch, but we'll see. I'm thinking fabric, just for ease, because the weeds are savage here. So that's what this space is for right now. I know that some people say like you shouldn't plant in this mulch, but you know, we're working with what we got, and we really like our cantaloupes and our watermelons. Steve is very fond of watermelon, so we're gonna have to plant that. And I'm literally like running out of space on my garden beds. Like I have these no, not actually here. I planted some more beets and carrots. The carrots are popping up, but the beets are taking their time. And over there I have some sugar snap peas, and over there I don't have anything. So I still have 2 beds yet to fill up. So those 2 beds, and plus like maybe 1/2 of the bed, is gonna have everything else that I have inside, which is more pepper. I think my sweet banana peppers, eggplants, and I forgot what else I have inside. But you know, we're running out of space because you want to give everything ample space. But yeah, so that is the garden update, and I want to show you what he's been working on. So we have a trench all the way back to the house, and then a trench to the chickens, and a trench to where the goats are gonna be. And so we're having a guy come and help because we weren't able to get too deep. He has a good trencher, you know, industrial trencher versus the Home Depot rental one that we got. So he's gonna come and do that. So yeah, so that's the garden update. And then I do want to say a life update to whoever cares. I know my brother watches, so I just want to share that today I got baptized, and I was it's a long time coming. I've been a Christian for a few years now, but I always felt that I wasn't it wasn't up to par for me to get baptized. But I know that just knowing that I'm saved and he is my savior, that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to submit. And that was the harder part of submitting my ego and what I want to do. And I've let that go, and with God's comfort and God's help, I will continue to do that. So yeah, so that's a fun life update that happened today. So I am very full of joy and full of peace, and I'm just happy today. Well, I'm happy pretty much almost every day, not all day every day, you know, but every day I'm very happy to be alive and very grateful to have this abundant life that I do. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to planting. So yeah, so I hope you guys have a lovely day, and see you next time. Ciao.